So first of all, I want to welcome you all to the joint hearing of the Senate Judiciary and Banking Committees, and welcome to our distinguished guests, many of whom have traveled from across the country to be with us here this afternoon. I know for those folks it was a really tough decision to make. Should I leave 0-degree weather and come to California? Let me think about it for a minute. I hope a few of you brought some precipitation with you. We could use some rain, and hopefully we'll see some tomorrow, according to the weather forecast. At any rate, in the wake of what seemed to be endless reports of mass data breaches across the nation, many Californians, myself included, can't help but wonder what will happen to our personal and financial information when we use it at a credit card, use a credit card at the corner gas station, when we buy shoes on the internet, as some of us do, or when we communicate private information to friends and family members through what we hope are secure computer systems. In fact, and I think this is a rather interesting statistic about where the American people are today, payment card fraud and identity theft have become the most worrisome threat on the minds of Americans, overtaking national security and the threat of terrorist attacks as the nation's top concern, according to a recent nationwide survey. So today's hearing is a first step towards regaining some control, hopefully, and assurances that our own personal information will be kept safe when we reveal it to others in the marketplace. We begin this journey today by taking a hard look at the payment card industry, not with the aim of assigning blame for any past mistakes, and I want to be really clear about that. What we are looking for today is information about what the problem is and what the solutions are that we can assist in so that we can address this problem effectively as we go forward. We want to find new and innovative solutions to ensure that we stay a step ahead of the hackers and criminals when it comes to security of retail electronic payment systems. This is obviously a challenge, but it's absolutely imperative as well that we become proactive rather than what we seem to be doing, which is reactive. I'm thrilled that we're going to be hearing testimony from, I think we have about 20 people invited today who are going to be here, representing virtually every segment of the payment landscape, including consumer and privacy rights advocates, state and federal law enforcement agencies, depository institutions, retailers, payment card networks, point-of-sale hardware manufacturers, payment processors, and security consultants. As I said to someone walking in the door, probably the easiest way to deal with this is to go back to an all-cash society. But we're not going to do that, so we've got to address these problems. And these industry leaders are true experts in their fields, and their valuable insight on how to combat fraud, prevent data breaches, and keep sensitive personal and financial information safe will help us formulate better public policy as we in the legislature try to craft solutions to these very complex problems. And yes, for those of you keeping score, we've got about twice as many witnesses as our counterparts in Washington were able to bring together earlier this month. Yes, we are here to do the work and to help find the solutions for all of us. Now, the range of voices that we're going to hear today illustrates how the challenge of consumer privacy extends much farther and deeper than one or two big-name companies that have made the news with revelations of recent data breaches. And I'm sure none of those companies, I won't repeat them at the moment, but I'm sure that wasn't the kind of publicity that they wanted to hear. You know, old politicians say, I don't care what you say about me, just spell my name right. Doesn't necessarily fall over into the world of commerce. And there's no doubt in my mind we all share common ground when it comes to the integrity and security of payment card systems. We know these systems cannot function without the trust and confidence of those who use them. Consumers want assurances that their personal information is safe when they swipe a credit or debit card at a point-of-sale terminal, or when they provide credit or debit card information to a merchant online. Retailers, card issuers, card networks, and payment processors want assurances that customers who use a card or card number in a transaction actually own or are authorized to use that card. So we have privacy, we have fraud prevention, Now, consumers and businesses alike, we all have a stake in ensuring that personal information is protected. I think that is a place of common ground I think that we all share. And while we do share this common ground, we can't ignore or overlook those areas where we may disagree with one another, and perhaps fundamentally. One of those areas which I hope to discuss with you today is the commodification of personal information. In my opinion, many of the security failures we see in the payment card industry today result from a deliberate choice not to maintain adequate privacy safeguards. Now look, we know that there are systems that are available, that there are more secure payment systems and technology. We have collectively chosen to lag behind most of the rest of the world by retaining outdated and insecure infrastructure, often out of a concern over cost or convenience. I think as we look at what the ultimate costs are down the road, I hope that we recognize that cost and convenience is frequently trumped by these kinds of data breaches and credit card thefts that are creating insecurity by users in the marketplace. We don't want that either, but this has got to stop. Data security, whether in the payment card industry or elsewhere, is not simply an effort to prevent losses due to stolen information or to mathematically balance security costs versus security risks. At least that is my hope and expectation. It's fundamentally about protecting sensitive information that has been entrusted to others. We must come to terms with the fact that these breaches result in more than just payment card fraud. They expose the personal details of the life and identity of individual consumers. And here in California, and I know most of you are aware of this, but the right of privacy is written specifically into the California Constitution. It is not implied as it is in the federal Constitution. The people of California back in the 1970s, through a constitutional amendment, voted to include among the rights of life, liberty, property, the right of privacy. And we take that right very, very seriously here. Personal information is not simply a commodity to be traded in the marketplace. I have a bill now that represents SB 383, represents a modest effort to recover some of those fundamental privacy rights in certain online transactions. I won't go into detail about it. I see some of you out there in the audience with whom I've met on this. I'm sure we'll have many other conversations. But again, keeping in mind what I believe to be the fundamental public policy here of protecting our right of privacy while ensuring against fraud and letting the marketplace do its business. That's the challenge we have before us. There is a path forward. I think you're all here because of that, not just because of our pretty nice weather we're having, particularly today. I'd love to take credit for it, but what I would like to do is make sure that we work together to find a solution that is going to work for all of us.